Okay, today y'all we are going to make a hexagon sweater with all of this little yarn I got from Amazon. It is 100% acrylic, and these are the little skeins. They're very cute and they're perfect size for projects that you want to be scrappy. So you're going to need a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and today we're going to use a size D or a 3.25, somewhere close to that, 3.25 millimeter or a D. So you don't have to have this exact size, but you can use all the way up to a 4.25 if you want. I just want to make these stitches smaller. So let's get started. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to start with this aqua color, and we're going to make both of the centers out of this. So let's get that started. This is the main part that you need to know. You're going to do your magic loop, okay, get that little needle in there. There we go, that little hook. And then you're going to chain 2, and this is your first stitch. Okay, you're going to double crochet right into here, and you're going to double crochet again. This is similar to a granny square, but it's not going to only have 4 sides. It's going to have 6. So what you want to do is chain 3, and see how these are tighter? We're going to make these smaller instead of the wide open. That's what the size G does. And then you're going to do 3 more doubles. You want 6 clusters of 3 doubles. And the smaller needle is a little bit trickier to get through sometimes, but I really wanted to make this one with smaller stitches. I have a friend who might be watching, but she has very small stitches and it looks so nice when she wears her sweaters. So here we are with our second cluster, and we've chained 3 again, and we're going to do 3 more double crochets right here together. Oh, there's 4. So we're going to take one out, and then we are going to chain 3. Now that is 3 clusters, and we need to double that. So let's get those going. There's 1, 2, 3, and 3 chains. Let's squeeze that in a little bit. It's not so big to work with. Now 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 3 chains, and now we need 1 more cluster. So 1, 2, and 3. Now to close this off, you're going to chain 3 so they're all equal. and then you're going to slip it together in the top of this stitch right here. Okay, now we have 6 clusters. We're going to pull that loop together, and so when you fold this over, you are going to have a little L shape. That's what you're going for. Okay, now right now I'm going to make the centers the same, so I'm going to cut this off. I'm not going to sew anything in yet because I'm just going to leave the tails for now. Tie it off, and then I'm going to make the second one. So I will come back when I get the second one made, and you can pause the video and make yours. All right, now that you've got your 2 centers made, we are going to go ahead and tie this center one in, because this keeps happening and it will just, you know, stay spreading out during the whole time you're working. So let's go ahead and get the center tail tied in. And this is how I do it here. We're just going to go around and stitch it, and see your needle doesn't show over there, so you're going inside the stitches and you just go around that circle and it will stay in a little better. And you can do a back stitch kind of here, and that will kind of lock it in, and I just do that 3 or 4 times. Let's pull that through, and that's pretty much it. You gotta twist it a little because it has a fat eye right there, and pull that tight and clip it off, and then do your second one. Okay, now what you want to do is stick your needle, your hook, through one of these spaces and pull your yarn through. Okay, now you're going to work with the longer one and make sure your tail stays underneath. Now we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And to complete this cluster, we want to do 2 double crochets. And that will be your cluster there. And you are going to chain 3 and do, in the same space, do another cluster of 3. So you want 2 clusters of 3 in each space as you go around this time. Okay, so you're still doing double crochet, and I'm going to argue with this little ball of yarn the whole time. Up, it came right back down. Okay, now that you've got 2 clusters of 3 in that first space, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to do 2 clusters of 3 in the next space. So 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 2, 3, a cluster of 3 in the same hole again. You want to be in the same space. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to put these yarns I use over to the side. Okay, now we're going to chain 1. Oops. My hook came off. Then you're going to do the same thing in the next one. You're going to do 3 clusters, or 2 clusters of 3 in each one of these. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to do 3 more clusters right here in the same space, because you want to make sure you have 2 clusters in each space. And this is 3. Okay, and then chain 1 and do this again. So 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and you're going to do it again in this one here. 2 clusters of 3 stitches. And then you're going to chain 1. Make sure and keep these tails out of the way. And we've got 1 cluster, so we need, no, yes, I did something wrong here. I did a chain 3 instead of a chain 1 in between. Oh, and I didn't put 2 in this space. That's what I did. Okay, I chained 3. I just skipped this one here. You gotta have 2 clusters in each space. So 1 and 2 and 3. Do as I say, not as I do, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got 2 more to do. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to go into the next space because now we have 2 here. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and go in the space, the same space. Make sure 1, 2, and 3, chain 1, and you've got 1 more space left to do that in. So you've got 1, oops, 2, 3, chain 3, and then 1, keep those tails down, 2, and 3. And you've got 2, and then you're going to chain 1. You're going to make sure all your clusters are there, and then you're going to slip into the top stitch here, slip together, and to test this out, see how it looks a little wonky, you're going to fold it like this again and check that you have an L shape. There we are. So it's a little tiny doll sweater. You just need 2 of them. So now we're going to go on to the other star. Okay, so pause the video here and I'm going to get this one done, and then we're going to go into the next row. Alright, so here we have a little doll sweater if you wanted to stop there. But we're going to go on to the next color, which is going to be this little red. Okay, some of these have the yarn coming out of the hole and some of them do not. So we're just going to grab the easiest one to grab, make a tail there, Now this row is going to be a little different than the one we've been working on. Every corner with the 2 clusters in one space is going to get a corner. Every space is going to just get 1. So we are going to go right into this space here and do a chain 3 and then 2 double crochets to make a cluster of 3. Okay, and then we are going to chain 1 and then go in this larger hole, and see this has 2 clusters, so you want 2 clusters of 3 in this one with the chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then you want a chain 3, and then you want 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to chain 1. And you're going to go into this spot here with 3 double crochets, but only 1 set, only 1 cluster, because you don't have the extra corner here. Now you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to go into this corner. So you've got another space right here. And you're going to go into here with 2 clusters of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and a chain 3. So it's just like a granny square where each corner gets 2 clusters and each knot corner gets 1 cluster. And you do a chain 1 in between the ones that are not the corner. Okay? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 1 chain, and then we have another corner to do. So 1, 2, 3, chain 3 on the corner. You have a lot of corners on this one, on this sweater. These sweaters turn out really beautiful. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to chain 1 here, and you've got 1 space here to fill. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3 with the chain 1, and there's another corner. This is what you're going to do the rest of the entire sweater, whatever size that you want it to be. 3 chains on the corner, back in the same hole for the corner. Then you're going to chain 1 and do 1 cluster here. You always chain 1 before and after the single cluster. Okay, there's the single cluster, so we chain 1. And here is a corner, so we are going to do 2 clusters. Oops. 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and do another cluster because you're in the corner. Now you've got a single cluster coming with this one, so you're going to chain 1. And then you're going to do 3 double crochet clusters, 3 double crochets, 1 cluster of double crochets. Cluster is 3. Then you're going to chain 1 because this is a single. And here's your last corner. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and chain 3 because it's the corner, and then you're going to do another cluster of 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to chain 1 because it's right before this single. And then you slip that together and trim it off. Okay, now you just pull this through to lock it in, and there is your growing sweater. Now this next round we are going to have 2 single clusters. Like the 3 here, you can have a cluster here and a cluster here. You're only going to do the double clusters on these 7 corners because you've got a corner here, and a corner here, a corner here, and then if you turn it over, you've got a corner, a corner, and a corner. You have 6 corners. Okay, and there is the next level. And I'll show you one more entire row after I get this one complete. So you can pause the video here and get your 3rd row on this one, and then we'll work on the 4th row. Alright, this is the last row I'm going to show you all the way around, because you've got 2 single spaces here, and then all your corners still, and then 2 single spaces in between. So we're going to go into this corner this time, and we're going to chain 3 for our first stitch, and we're basically repeating everything we've done on the other rows, except you will have 2 single spots in the middle. So every corner gets 2 clusters of 3. Okay, 1, 2, and this is the 3rd one for this cluster. And then we're going to do 1 chain, and then here's a single, so we're going to do 1, oops, something happened there, I don't know what. 1, 2, 3, single, because there's another single here. Okay, this is just like a granny square at this point because you've got more sides, and each time you go around you're going to have more singles in each row. Okay, so there's the end of the singles, and then we're back to a corner. Every row that you make, every time you make this a little bit bigger, you will have more single spots on the side, just like in a granny square. 1, this is our 2nd cluster in this corner. Okay, 3. Now you're going to do 1 chain, and you're going to do 3 here and 3 there. So from here on out it's fairly simple. You can make this as large as you want or as small as you want. I got some yarn mixed up there. And you can do this in a solid color, or you can do it multicolor like this. You can do it in larger yarn or smaller yarn. This is a smaller yarn version. So there's 2. The next time around you're going to have 3. So you can have many variations of this sweater. You can do it in any style you want, any color scheme that you want. When you get these panels done, you can add the ribbing around the bottom and add a band, or you can add longer sleeves, or you can add a cuff on the sleeve. You can add a collar if you want. There's all kinds of ways to make this sweater. It depends on your skill level and what you're willing to learn if you don't know yet, and what you already know how to do. There's lots of things you can do with it. And you can make it any style you want. You could make it a solid neutral color out of a cotton yarn, or you could make it out of these bright colors out of acrylic. You could use a wool or any variation of wool. You could use the granny square yarn that comes already in the changing colors. I'm sure it would only work for so long in the same order, but it would all look really good with that variegated yarn. Uh-oh. I'm talking and I did 1 chain on this corner, so I have to pull all this out and do 2 more chains, because this corner gets 3 chains. Glad I noticed that. Wasn't pulling around correctly. So anyway, there's lots of versions of the sweater you can make. You can make it your own, and you can do it in your own style, in your own colors that you like. And it can be any size because it slowly grows. You can make it a doll sweater to a baby sweater or a child sweater, or a small adult to a very large adult. You just continue making rows until you get it the size you want. And if you don't know what size you need to make it or how many rows, you take a sweater or a hoodie or a jacket or even a shirt that you have and lay it on the table, and then lay this on that. This is another corner, and then you can lay it on that other garment that you have that fits you, that you want this to be the similar size, and then you'll have it very close to where you want it. Just remember that yarn is a little stretchy. If you have a fabric that's not stretchy, you want to make sure that your yarn is on the smaller side of that item, because yarn is stretchy. 1, 2, 3. Now once we finish this row together, I think you've got this. And what I will do is I will stop recording, and you can pause the video or you can come back to it later, because I'm going to finish out this sweater, and I'm just going to show you the finished product when I get this done. My extra little light just went out. Now this is probably several days of a project if you're working on it quite a bit during the day or in the evening. You could probably get this done in several evenings. So it's not a fast project. It is a great scrap buster project if you have a lot of yarn that doesn't really go together, doesn't match, but it goes together, and you need to scrap bust it. Then you could do this project with scraps. Your rows do not have to match. you can make it super scrappy with nothing matching. Because I've got these pieces, I'll probably work in there. This is not enough to go around both pieces, so it's going to get fitted in somewhere. Now, from here on out, you're going to grow your rows by the single ones on the side, and you've got the corners, and you know how to do it now. So I am going to go ahead and finish this sweater and come back recording when I'm completely done. And I would love to see what you've got. You can email me at wildlyartisticliving@gmail.com and show me what you've made, what sweater you've gotten, or you can maybe tag me on Instagram. I have that as well. I'd love to see what you're making. Or if you have a channel, you can put that in the comments and I will go check your channel out and let's support each other. So I will come back when the sweater is all done, and happy crocheting. All right, here we are. We have 12 rows of this beautiful little sweater. This is one arm and one side. So when you put these two together, this is what you have. And this is a little child size, and I really love the size of this. So we're about to put this all together and show you how it comes together. You can make this any size you want, but today's is a children's. Okay, here we are. Let's let you see this whole thing as it comes. I'm going to take this little booger off. This is the safety pin that I used as a marker for my size hook. I've learned to do this. I saw this on a little short on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, where you put your millimeter size on a tag and you can tag your clothes. And I just happen to have that tag. So you can tag your works in progress, not your clothes. Anyway, this is clothing. This is such a cute little sweater. So we are going to crochet the back side together and then down the sleeves. We are going to work with this color. So it's all very similar. I can't really tell the difference in these. So we're going to go ahead and use these. They're a little darker than the one we ended with, but that's okay. We're going to leave a space for a collar. And we're going to start about here somewhere where it's even and go all the way down the sleeve. Okay, here we are on the back side of the sweater. This is the side we're going to crochet together. We are going to use this aqua here, teal or aqua, whatever you call it. You're going to go into that middle chain. You have 3 chains and you're going to go in the middle one on each corner. So it brings together the back, and you're going to pull your yarn right through there. And you're going to chain 1, because we're going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a rib on the inside. We're just going to do a chain. So you're going to go in the next stitch, not a chain, a single crochet. And you're going to do single crochets in all of these stitches all the way up. It's a very simple process to put this together. Now there are other ways to do it. And this will be the inside, because the fact that you are giving it a little bit of a rib, I always use that for the inside. If someone loves it, they can put it on the outside, I suppose. Or you can do it with a sewing needle or a yarn needle, but you sew it in with the yarn needle, and you do it with an invisible stitch as well. There are lots of ways to do it, actually. This is the way I love to join for these hexagon sweaters. So we're just going to do a single crochet all the way up the back. And these stitches are easy to find where you need to go in. it doesn't take very long, unless of course you have the larger sweater. I've made myself lots of sweaters over the last few years, and I just decided that this one was not going to be for me because I already have a scrappy colored one just like this. It's larger stitches and more holes, but I do love it. So I didn't want to make myself another one exactly the same. So this one will find a home. You can always make things that are pretty like this and donate them to the Goodwill or a thrift store or to a shelter that gives things to people that have lost everything, or a women's shelter or anything like that. Kids shelter, all those places locally. Most towns have them, and you just have to ask around a little bit. And you can donate your items to places like that where people need them, and they wouldn't otherwise get something beautiful. I might put this in my shop as well. I do have an online store. It mostly has jewelry in it right now, but I want to start putting crochet items in it. So hopefully I'll get to fill that up before the year end is out with a lot of crochet items. Whoops. It's getting a little tricky here at the end. I don't know why. Because this one is tight and that one is loose. And then on the next stitch, this one is loose and that one is tight. We are almost done with this here. We're gonna, at the very end, you need to make sure they're evening up. So you have to kind of keep it straight with the stitches all the way up to make sure this ends up right at the end. This is the next to the last, because it's that first chain. This is that center chain. You've got 3 chains on each corner, and make sure to get that center one for your last stitch. Then we're going to cut that, and there is the back of the sweater sewn up. Now we want to keep this direction and bring out the sleeves. And keep that on the outside. And let's see. There we go. Sometimes when you're first doing this, it's a little tricky to get those angles right because it kind of goes all different directions and you're not sure which way to put it. But then when you pull the sleeve out, you have the front of your sweater right here. And you can add buttons or even a zipper if you really wanted to. So this is super cute. I love it. And we're going to start right at this 3rd stitch on this top up here. Okay. So this is the outside. So we're on the outside of the sweater, the inside of the sweater right now, but it's on the outside right now. So you want to make sure you do all of this on the same side. So you keep this out while you're doing it. And then you can turn it right side out when you're done. So I'm going to go up the sleeve, but we're going to go this way actually, because I want to make sure these are even. And you can, let me just do that. We're going to put a stitch marker in here because this will make it so much easier. It's already open to keep up with. Let's get a few of those out. This way I won't get the top of the sweater off. We're going to go 2 of those in and give this little kid a shoulder. Okay, here we are. We're going to go right here on this 3rd cluster. But I'm going to keep the cluster straight and go all the way down and put a few markers in. And you can also put your marker, let's see, I'm going to put it down here. instead of up there where I need to crochet. And that keeps it right together till the end of the line. There we go. There's several ways you can do that. There is my crochet hook. And see, this one will go right in here, the next stitch over, because that one is right there. Okay, we're going to grab our yarn and pull it through there. That's a pretty long tail, but that's okay. Whoops. Don't crochet your tail. Never works. And we are just going to go ahead and do a single crochet all the way down. 1, 2 in the beginning of the third cluster. Pull it in, and we have lots of tails to put in. Lots of tails still. I've taken and done a lot of them already. We are just going to go ahead and do our singles all the way down. Dun, 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 dun. Testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. La 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 la. Dun 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 dun. Mm-hmm. Let's see what that got.